Well, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
My name is Abe, aka Big Paranormal. Welcome back, everybody. We are super excited right now because we have a very special guest right now. We have Tammie Chavez from Hollyweird Paranormal. Welcome.
Hi,
Oh my
guys. Thank you.
God. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, man. We are just super excited to have you on.
Well, I'm excited to be here and get weird.
Exactly. So with every Scary Vibes episode, we always started off with me asking you a very important question, and that is, what is your favorite scary movie?
Immediately, Friday the 13th. It was my first scary film that I watched when I was 8 years old. There.
Mm,
I,
8 years
I
old?
I was 8 and it was my first horror movie that I watched, and it was frightening in all the best ways possible. And I really thought that, this boy named Jason existed on Camp Crystal Lake for the longest. And I still watch that movie, and it's still one of my favorites.
It is such a good one, and I'm super excited about the TV show that's coming out. I actually loved the
Yes.
game too when it was out. Did you ever play the video game?
Heck yes. Oh my God, that game even scared me too. It was so good on the Nintendo. I loved it, and it was frightening. It was like if you turned off all the lights and started playing, and the little synthesizer music came on. It was really good. Yeah.
Oh, oh, you're talking about
Actually,
the
yeah, she's talking about the original NES one.
Oh yeah. I
Bro,
used to play the original, and I did watch the most current one. I think it's like I've seen a lot of gameplays, and it's like you're actually in the movie. It's really incredible, like how
mhm.
real it all looks. So
no.
yeah.
So I never played the NES one where he's like wearing the purple suit and everything. But the new
Yeah.
one, yeah, that game was so fun
That.
because you could actually
Mhm.
play it online and you could play against other people, and they would pick one person as Jason, and then everybody else would be the counselors, and every counselor would have like different abilities. There'd be like a chubby one that might be a little slower but he's stronger. There might
Mhm.
be like one of the girls, she might be really fast but not as strong, and you would have to do certain things to get away from Jason. Like, one of the ways you could get away is you would have to get a car, and you one person would have to find a battery, the other person would have to find the gas for the car.
Oh
But
yeah.
all while this is happening, Jason is hunting you down, and as the game goes on, his abilities get stronger and stronger, and his sound starts going up. It's a really good game. I love it. You guys should play it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like watching gameplays because it's like,
Mhm.
especially on horror games like that, the music. Oh, I love the music. They never go wrong with the music, and
I
that's
think
what's
the
even. Hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh, you're
you.
fine.
I was gonna say the thing that I love about the game is that like it kind of puts you. It's very immersive, right? And it kind of puts
Mhm.
you into the whole mode of like, okay, you always have that question of how would I react or what would I do if I was inside of a horror
Yeah.
movie, and like the anxiety kind of starts to build up, right? Because it lets you know when Jason is near, and you start to freak out. And there's times where like he'll get really close to you and you have to try to figure out, where you're going to run. Sometimes you'll have to like jump, out a window or something like that, like
Yeah.
narrowly escaping. Oh my god, it's crazy how like these video games have become so just realistic that it oh my god, it just gets your anxiety going and everything. Your
Yes.
heart's going all crazy. It's insane. That's why I don't game anymore.
I can imagine it's like an adrenaline and anxiety rush all at the same time.
Hmm.
I love it. So now that we got that question out of the way, I'm curious to know more about you. Like, what do you do? Tell us about Hollyweird Paranormal.
Oh, well, I guess I could start with the origins of it. I'm originally from New Orleans, and I got involved in theater, and that's what I do during the day. I am a costume designer and costume director for a university. So I do manage and design costumes for stage, and I have done so for film. And I think one of my earlier experiences of the paranormal and seeing my first apparition was in an old theater in New Orleans, and I didn't even know the theater was haunted. And I was working in a costume shop and I had to cut fabric in the front foyer of the theater because we just didn't have space. And I went in there with another coworker who then left me to get more fabric. And I'm just cutting. It's a dark and stormy night, and I kept on seeing an image of a man like standing right next to me and staring at me. And he was dressed in theater blacks. I could see him as clear in my mind. I could see him, but every time I would turn to look in the direction he was standing, he would disappear. He had black hair and a black mustache. I'm like, wow, it's just so real to me. And I went to have my break. I sat down in the costume shop to eat my lunch, and I told the ladies what I saw, and they're like, "Oh, that's Bob." I'm like, "Did you guys name it?" And they're like, "No, he used to work here." And the reason why he wears black is because he worked backstage. He was the lighting designer, and he would always show up to work in his theater blacks. And I'm like, "What did he look like?" He had black hair and a black mustache. I was like, "That's what I saw." And it just seemed like in my journey of costuming, I would always end up working in a haunted theater, a haunted film set. And I started working in those locations a lot more in Los Angeles. I moved here in 2009. And then I ended up getting a big job at an acting academy called the American Academy of Dramatic Arts that sits on the property where the Charlie Chaplin bungalows are. So they're on the property, his houses that he built. And next door is the Jim Henson studio, which was the Charlie Chaplin studio. And there were a lot of stories that circulated my first year of a man being seen with a bowler hat and a sack suit. He would wear like a period suit. And I would hear these stories from the security guards and other teachers that worked there for a very long time. People would see this apparition of a man walking in the parking lot by the bungalows, and he looked like Charlie Chaplin, which is so interesting. So me and another coworker, Bryce, who is also my co-host of Hollywood Paranormal Podcast, we decided, let's talk about this. Let's create a spooky podcast and talk about all these little hidden secrets in Los Angeles. And it just blew up until now. So I'm always getting immersed into these locations that I end up finding out they're haunted.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you said you were a you said you were a New Orleans native, and I'm curious. So, I mean, there's so much like history there and dark history and so many cool macabre places, and it's like one of my dream places. I want to go so freaking bad.
Yeah.
And I always talk about with guests on the show, like me and Big, we're both from the Chicagoland area. So we know all the urban legends with Chicago. You have Resurrection Mary. Now there's new ones like Gargoyles of Lower Wacker Drive, the Mermaids at Navy Pier. So I'm actually
Crazy.
curious. I always feel like, native to wherever you're from, that's the stories you know the best. I'm actually curious, is there like a native story to New Orleans that like sits in your brain rent free?
There's two. There's the Rougarou, the swamp werewolf, but there's the other one that is so interesting. That is called the chupa. We have a chupacabra in New Orleans, and
What?
or they call him Lizard Man. It's chupacabra or Lizard Man of New Orleans, and of the English Channel or by Bywater. It's in two separate locations, but people have claimed that they've seen this lizard-like being in their neighborhoods, and some people call it the chupacabra because their animals will end up missing and be found dead. And this one neighbor one night said that he was taking out the trash and he saw this weird creature digging through the trash, and it looked like this weird lizard-like being. And I know there was a book written about it. I have to find it. And then I have a friend named Bridget Marcour who claimed that she was in the quarter one evening and she saw this like very tall, slender, lizard-like being in the French Quarter, which was really interesting. And I'm like, when it comes to New Orleans, you never know. It's like there's so many things here. We have a werewolf, we have vampires, we have so many things, and now we have this chupacabra character that just like came out of the little suburbs outside of New Orleans. And it's really interesting. Like the more you dig in that city, the more you'll find.
You know what? It's actually pretty refreshing to me that you're saying that you guys have a chupacabra over there, and you're actually saying that it is this little like lizard man type thing, which is, when you come from the Hispanic community or the Spanish community and you talk about the chupacabra, that is how they describe the chupacabra as being this like small lizard
Mhm.
like creature. And over the years, for some reason, people have associated the chupacabra with this mangy dog,
Yeah.
right? And like that has bothered me so much that it's changed, from the original description of the chupacabra to this dog that suffers from mange. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's actually very
Yeah.
refreshing to me that you're like, listen, where I'm from, we have a chupacabra, and it is that same traditional description of the cryptid, and I think that's awesome. But man, as soon as you said that you are originally from New Orleans, I was like, oh man, you
Mhm.
guys
Yeah.
literally have everything over there. You've
Yep.
got all the voodoo, witchcraft, zombies, I mean, you name it, the vampires, all that kind of stuff. So I could only imagine the things that you guys have seen, or like the things that you have experienced. And I'm curious, have you heard of any stories, or have you yourself ever experienced anything with a vampire particularly?
Oh my God, no. I mean, I used to work in the French Quarter.
Hmm.
I worked in the French Quarter for 2 years at a Judaica art gallery off of Charter Street. I love that street. And the only vampires I would see were the ones staggering the night after the vampire ball with one shoe, one
Mm.
thing, and the hair all a mess, their makeup all messed up. They're probably going home. They're probably going to go and do their taxes. But supposedly, I mean, it's an interesting, it's a very unique and large subculture. I was reading an article of a gentleman, a doctor, who was studying for 5 years, studying the subculture of vampires. And he
Mm.
lived in New Orleans for 2.5 years in the French Quarter. And then surprisingly, he lived another 2.5 years in Buffalo. There's surprisingly a huge subculture of vampires in Buffalo. And he said that
Interesting.
yeah, that vampires, the whole subculture blew up in the AOL chat rooms after Interview with the Vampire. No, after the Lost Boys came out, it became this like romanticized thing. And then it blew up even more after Interview with the Vampire. But there are
Mm.
people who are called like kind of like sanguarians, who do drink blood, and they do it
Right.
ethically, and they do it. There's rules to it. There is the New Orleans Vampire Society. There is an
Mm.
organization based out of New Orleans. It's an actual organization. There are
Mhm.
several houses and chapters, and these houses represent either like poets and certain icons. Another one represents artists. Another one represents architects. It's really interesting.
Very
But
interesting.
yeah, there's a lot of vampire balls. I feel like it's a lot of people who romanticize and love being vampires. They
Mhm.
find it very
Weird.
sexy. Yeah.
My
But
love language.
it's interesting. So I have a friend that attended the ball. She's like, it's just another reason for people to be freaky and to, can I curse?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's to be freaky and fuck each other as vampires. It's honestly like, she's like, it's like people love, it's like a fantasy for them.
Right,
So
right.
it's like you could tell, like, that guy, that he works in HR somewhere at a school the next morning.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting. But yeah, I would always see them dressed up the night before, and then the next
Mhm.
morning while I'm opening the gallery, they're, they're doing the walk of shame, which is hilarious.
I was gonna
So
say they were doing the
yeah,
vampire walk of shame, man. That's crazy. It
it's
kind of makes me
Y-
sad
funny.
though.
I would just like purposely with my coffee, just like, I know what you did. But I mean, the biggest vampires, the biggest ones are the mosquitoes. That's what I tell people. Those are the ones you got to be careful.
Mm.
Are the mosquitoes? Those are nasty. They're nasty. They'll leave like marks on you. That won't go away for months. So
Wow.
yeah.
You know, I used to be a vampire.
Oh, really?
So getting back, so getting back into the whole video game world, there's a video game called Oblivion. I'm a big fan. It's Elder
Oh,
Scrolls Oblivion, and in this game, you could actually get attacked by a vampire, and if you do, you become a vampire. And whenever you go in the sun, you die. And the only way to overcome this is you need to feed on people.
no.
And I was very lazy in this game. So what I would do is I would go down to the river where all the homeless people were and I would feed off of them because I wouldn't have to break into any houses.
Oh, wow.
Bro, really?
So
Really?
because
He's like,
in the game you would have to use a lockpick and you would have to pick it and then they would break and then you only have so many lockpicks and then you would have to find the thieves guild to buy more lockpicks and it was a whole process. It'd be easier
wow.
just to go to the river and just feed on them.
It
I
was
just
a
think it's funny
job.
how I just think it's funny how we got appalled on behalf of these like not real homeless people that you were feeding on in this game. All of a sudden, the jaws just dropped when you said that. But man, I don't know, man. This whole thing about like the whole romanticizing of vampires, it really makes me appreciate kind of like the 80s, old school vampire horror films like Vamp.
Yeah.
That I mean, there was nothing romantic about those vampires. They were ugly and they were just nasty and savage. Those are the kind of vampire films that I really enjoy and would not want to have any type of experiences with in real life. So I'm kind of relieved when you say that you haven't had any type of like experiences with real vampires out
No.
there. Yeah. So,
I mean, if you go to the Vampire Cafe, it's a tourist trap. I mean, it's packed because of
mm,
social media. You go in and you spend $17 on one of those little packets of blood, the blood packets that are just a drink to walk around. It's
mm,
like that's the new grenade is now walking around with one of those little vampire packs around the French Quarter. And
I
it's
think I
expensive.
saw. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's clickbait. I don't know what it is, but I hope it's real. But I saw that Romania is supposedly working on this big giant, uh, like Dracula amusement park for adults.
See,
I'm
it's
all
just
for it.
it's
I'm all for
fun,
it.
but I feel like now it's a niche and it's
right.
nothing too mysterious anymore. Most certainly in New Orleans, it's not like that anymore. I mean, you could pay $100 to go into a vampire ball to see vampires. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I heard like stories of people being in Ubers and having their energies drained by an energy vampire too. But I feel like
I've seen that
people
story too.
yeah. I feel like there's other people that do that, they just
Hmm.
drain your energy, they're just soul suckers in a way.
No, seriously, Colin
So I'm
Robinson.
curious. Yeah, so I'm actually curious. Like, how did? Okay, so you're also a paranormal investigator. How did that start?
Oh, that paralleled with the podcast. Like I just started to work on the podcast and then I noticed, I just want to be more than just lip service on this podcast. I asked my co-host Bryce, do you want to come investigate? No, immediate no, shut down. I'm like, okay, then I'll go and do the
Oh,
field research because I want to go to these locations. They're here in Los Angeles. I want to go and see them for myself. And it just snowballed. Like I started to reach out to people, historians and other investigators and people that own these haunted locations. And I just got my foot in the door that way and just talking to them. And I was always then invited because, I would put a lot of that intel in the podcast, and it just kind of like snowballed from there to the point where like I was heavily investigating and I wanted to know if there's someplace where you could get some sort of accreditation or a certificate, some sort of certification. And then I was referred to the Rhine Institute. So that's where I met Lloyd Auerbach, who is professor paranormal. He's really wonderful. He's a parapsychologist. He's the reason why he was, it is said, alleged that his character, that Dan Aykroyd's character in Ghostbusters was inspired by him because he was the consultant for that film.
oh
And
wow.
yeah, he's a real deal. And he just knows everything about everything ghosts and paranormal. And I took a class and through the Rhine Institute. So you can take how to be a paranormal investigator 101 through the Rhine and you get a certification, like an actual certification from this institution. And it just kept on going and going. And I just immersed myself a lot with these locations that it just became organic. I just loved investigating, talking to more to the living than the dead, and just trying to figure out what's out there.
Mm.
And it got to the point where now, like, I'm working with Ghost Adventures. It's just like all, like I said, it just
Wow.
snowballed.
So that's absolutely amazing that now we know that there is a place that you can go to that you can actually get this accreditation, right? Like you get this title, that you can learn how to do this. Because I often wondered about that. It's like, okay, so are these people that are doing this stuff on YouTube, on TV, are they literally just kind of going around with these recorders and these, cat balls that, motion sensor and all that kind of stuff? And are they just doing this and then just calling themselves paranormal investigators? Like, how does this go? But
I feel like, yeah, anybody could be an investigator, but I mean, to really know your stuff and be accredited is, or certified,
certified, yeah,
it's a
that's
next.
awesome.
I think that's the next level. Like, you could be anybody could be an investigator. I mean, you could pick up a
Mhm.
K2 and just go into a field somewhere, but to be like, to actually go through a class and take notes and do the test. There's a test. There's an actual exam towards the end. That's pretty hard. It's pretty. I'm not even joking. Like, it's a lot of work. But like
Wow.
but the whole thing is like you're reading and you're reading about a lot of these cases that were studied. Oh, this is, they're talking about the Battersea poltergeist in this case. Oh, they have it documented in the Cyclical Research Society files. Like, that's really cool to know.
Mhm.
So, those are good references. I think the difference when it comes to YouTubers like holding a camera and yelling in the dark in a haunted location is that I think they're just doing it for entertainment, for shock value. Um, where I feel like I'm just doing it to really collect data and to see like what's really out there.
Mhm.
And it's just my personal journey at the end of the day. Hopefully I can write a book about it, but I'll just document it on my podcasts.
And so, the funny thing is that I mean, I'm kind of new to the whole thing, right?
Hmm.
When it comes to like paranormal investigation, me and Mr. Scary Vibes just went to our first haunted location um this
Oh,
past Friday. Uh,
congratulations.
and
Thank you,
it
thank you.
was, yeah, thank you so much for that. It was definitely an experience, and it was an opportunity for me to kind of step outside of my comfort zone because,
Oh.
I am empathic, and I
Oh.
have often been very scared to go to haunted locations, known haunted locations, because I don't have to be at a haunted location in order to pick up a spiritual attachment. Like, I've had things follow me home just being out, and so it was a good experience for us to be able to go and, actually try this out to see how I do, you know. Um it was pretty crazy, but getting back to my point, the fact that, like, I think that there's a lot of people out there who don't know too much about like paranormal investigations. And I think that, like, the expectation is that when they go to these investigations that they're 100% they're going to find something, right? They're going to get something on a recording, or they're going to get something on film. And I feel like there's a lot of goose eggs that happen, right? Like, there's probably a lot of things that don't happen on these investigations. I mean, would you say that that's correct? Or, like, I mean, have you been on investigations
Yeah.
where things have not happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, ugh, it was so boring. I could fall asleep. For example, what was it? The Sally House in Atchison, Kansas. I
Hmm.
literally I could have taken a really delicious nap on that second floor with all the dolls. I went there. There was a year I was working for travel as their content creator, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to Atchison. Where you want me to go?" And they're like, "Hey, go to the Sally House, record some content." And I was like, "Great. We'll see if something happens." When I
Hmm.
got there was a couple. It was a man and a woman, and the man said, "Yeah," like, because I asked him, like, they were leaving. I'm like, "Oh, was there anything interesting in there?" And they were like, "Yeah, the music box upstairs turned on by itself." So I said, "Oh, okay." And the
Hmm.
guy was like, "I don't like it in there." And I have read, like men get the worst in that location, like they experience the worst. But when
Mhm.
I walked in, it was so calm. And I'm pretty in tune with the more I've been investigating, the more I'm learning I have a great deal of intuition and mediumship ability where I turn it on in these locations and I'm like, whatever's here, it's like chill with me. It's like it knows it's not gonna mess with me, but I just kind of like laid out the respect, like, hey, I'm just here to record, and if you want to do anything or say anything, the camera's on. Nothing. It was just silence. It was crickets. And
Mm.
then I go around the corner. A friend of mine told me you should go check out. It was before this whole debacle with the what is it, U.S. Ghost Adventures, but it was 1889 McIntyre Villa, which is
Mhm.
literally several blocks away. And I had like so many things happen to me there. And I was like, I don't even want to take a nap here. There's so much chaos going on. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like my camera stopped working in certain rooms where bad things happened, where people died. Like it just stopped
Mhm.
working, and it just was working fine when I was at, the Sally House. And even like the week before, I was in, the Oddfellows in Liberty, Missouri. I'm like, why was it all of a sudden not functioning well in this one particular location?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, places like that, like that was my experience. Nothing happened. But other people might go in there who are not investigators that are just there who are thrill seekers and they come out with stuff, surprisingly.
So exactly. So I think that's what Big was trying to get into is so unfortunately it wasn't like a private event or we didn't, we weren't investigating something on our own. We were invited to an event. There was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of enthusiasts or thrill seekers and a lot of people, most of the people were respectful, but there was like one or two where like there was
Yeah.
a guy that like followed us into the room and what was he saying, Big?
Um, so he had asked what happened. It was funny because a lot of the places where they said that it was really active, I didn't really feel anything in those areas. But it wasn't until I got into like this front room that was completely dark. It was a tiny room. And right when I had walked in, I felt sick, like just nasty sick. And to the point to where I started to like gag and cough and just get it was bad. You can ask Mr. Scary Vibes. Like I was coughing and hacking, it was
Oh,
bad. And normally in my experience when that happens, that means that I get kind of like negative energy overload. And so what ends up happening is my body has this like thing that it does where I have to purge that negative energy out of me, and that's what it does. And so like I looked in this corner of this room and I was like, yeah, dude, there's something over here by this like refrigerator. I'm feeling it. It's really, really bad. I ended up having to like leave that room because it got so bad. Then we went in there again later on in the day or in the evening, I'm sorry. And this guy followed us in there. At that point, I didn't feel anything in the room. So like whatever was in there earlier, I think it moved, right? It was gone. And this, you know, I think Mr. Scary Vibes, you had some kind of a device. Um it was like one of those things that lights up like different colors, red and green. And so the guy, he was just really aggressive and he just started like yelling at, whatever spirit he thought was inside of this room. And he was like, I caught you earlier today. Like, make this thing light up. And he just was acting crazy, and we just kind of looked at each other and like, yeah,
we're gonna
we're gonna
exit. We're gonna
like,
leave.
yeah, we're
The
we're
living
we're gonna
scare
see
us more
us
than the dead at this point. I'm done. Yeah.
exactly. But
I've had things like that.
shout
Yeah.
out to shout out to AJ True Crime. He's the one who invited us out to this event. It was so cool.
I
You
love
know.
AJ. He's
Oh, you
such a
know
cool
AJ?
guy. Yeah, we converse online. I
Okay.
really I love what he's doing over there with the community. He does really like he is hosting these events and I'm like, AJ, I need to go to Chicago. I think I'll go there next summer. But because I
Mhm.
was there last summer in Chicago, I love it and I miss it. And you guys are
Mhm.
definitely super haunted, but he does a lot of that stuff there. So cool.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
this event, he had a lot of his own items that were haunted
Yeah.
or possessed. Like he had tons of dolls that were there. He had like a mirror. He had a print of the Crying Boy painting. That one I was like freaking out about when I saw that. I could not believe it, but it was pretty awesome. You know, he had some cool people that were there, and like like Mike said, it was like just there were some like over enthusiasts. You know, people. It's kind of hard to try to focus. Like when I'm trying
Yeah.
to read the energy of a room, it's kind of hard to focus when you literally have people that are like a foot away from each other, and they're all like screaming at these dolls and stuff like, "Do you know AJ? You know, like how did you die?" And we're just like,
Yeah. Oh, already that question told me everything I needed to know. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely, we're interested in, trying to do some other stuff and,
Hmm.
set some other
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
up in the future.
our goal is to so so we created the Scary Vibes podcast about a year ago. We were doing only audio, and then we converted to now video, and then we started adding guests, and now we're going to try to do 100 location per month. So that's our goal going forward.
Mhm.
So it'd be super dope, yeah, whenever you're in Chicago, especially if you're gonna get up with AJ, it'd be super fun to get up with you
Yeah.
also and try to like investigate a location. It was funny because this is the first time me and Big went out and did this, and I actually wore the Mr. Scary Vibes mask and attire, and because I wasn't sure if there was gonna be photos, this and that, and I want to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
I don't. That's just my thing, and
Mhm.
um, it was a new experience for both of us, but it was super fun. But I was like, this is like already a TV show here. Like Big has all like his like protection on and his like
Yeah.
protective bracelets. He has his cauldron in the car with all his herbs and I'm walking in here with a mask on and I'm like, bro, we're just missing the TV cameras, at
there
this
were some
point.
there were some people that were not very receptive to your mask though. There
There
were
was only
people
one
that
guy,
there was a
and I get it.
couple. There was a couple. We were hearing some comments and stuff like when we walked by and stuff, and there was just like this guy who was like a salty old pirate. And he was like, What's up? What's up with that guy with the
Oh
mask?
yeah.
Like, whoa, dude. Easy. It's just a mask. Relax, man. But
Hmm.
yeah, overall, I mean, it was a pretty cool experience. It was
So
awesome.
That's good.
So I know you've been on so many investigations. Is there one location that we could just tune in on that you just love the history of it and there was some stuff that kind of just went on there that you would like to share with our audience?
Oh my God, yeah. I think, oh my God, there was one that was very, very active. I'm trying to remember because I'm just like trying to wrap my head around this other investigation I just did. But oh my God, I'm trying to think. Um yes, actually it was one that I recently investigated. It was in Santa Clarita here, and it's called Artifact Tattoo and Piercing. And the history of it is it's very dark, it's very sad, but it just goes to show you as a really good example that when something tragic happens in a location, which happens often here in Hollywood, does it what kind of residue does it leave behind, and do we really, a part of our consciousness, does it stay behind, does it persist, I guess is the best way to describe it. When
Okay.
we leave our mortal coil, our physical body, does a piece of ourselves, a piece of our consciousness stay behind? And I think this place really does prove to that whole theory to the T. So there was a gentleman by the name of Lou Campanelli who was brutally murdered in this location back in the 90s by two of his friends, and one of them was the business partner because he wouldn't sell the business to him. So him and his brother, the friend's brother, murdered him and tried to stage it like it was a robbery, and they were caught, obviously. The trial took a very long time. So the business where he was murdered transitioned through several hands. It's in a strip mall out of all places. And in walks Artifact. They opened up in 2007, 2008, and immediately weird things started happening, and to all the workers, and it was like physical things. One of them, the most accurate one, vivid one, was the owner was telling me that he was moving or fixing something in the main room, and there's this piercing room that was like a couple yards away, and the tempered glass, which is like on this case of like, oh, you could see like the piercings and stuff, the jewelry just broke. It just shattered into billions of pieces, right? Out of the blue. And then people started to see an apparition of a man wearing New Balances, a polo, and like kind of like a dad attire. So, okay, they're seeing this thing, they're having things happening. And the worst part was, he said, this is what really got to me. There's a security footage, I have it, is where he's like, I closed by myself. I had a protein shake that I left in the fridge, and I left, and I didn't open the next morning. I get a call from my workers, and they're like, did you have a party here? Like, what happened? And he's like, what do you mean? They're like, there's protein shake all over the floor. It's spilled all over the floor. What did you do? And he's like, I didn't do anything. I left it in the fridge. And then he goes back on his Ring camera. You see the shake somehow get out of the fridge, and it just, some force throws it in the back room, and it's on camera. And that's when he reached out to me. He's like, I saw a video of you on TikTok. You're doing investigations. I like how you do your investigations. Can you come here and investigate? I'm like, yeah, Santa Clarita's like 15 minutes from me. And I brought my friend, Tawny Lewis, who's also an investigator, and she's a medium as well.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, to anyone out there like who wants to do investigating, your best tool, of course, is your body. But if you have a friend or know someone who's a medium, that is your best tool as well. And so I brought her, and she immediately picked up on Lou and how he passed and everything. And we just noticed like that with our devices, whenever we would ask him questions, they were so immediate, they were to the point. You could definitely feel the sense of energy there. It's like, if you were to go in there for the first time and investigate, you're going to experience him, which is very interesting because he's very vocal, and he's very physical, and he's very powerful, but he's very, very smart. And after I posted the episode of my podcast, Lou's friend and best friend, she was the former bar manager of his bar, reached out to me, and she was like, I noticed you're having an event. I want to go over there. I have to go see him. I have to tell him, I have to know that he's there. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a problem. She's like, I always feel like it's my fault that he died. I'm like, I don't think it was you didn't stab him and beat him. And she's like, no, I introduced him to the people that murdered him.
Oh, wow.
Unknowingly, like thinking, like she didn't know like they would do this to him. But when we brought her there, I hate to say a trigger object, but she was more like a bridge. That's where the atmosphere really got more, it wasn't chaotic, but it was very active in front of a bunch of people that were there for this investigation. But it goes to show you like what happens to our consciousness after we pass. Like, do we choose to stay here? Do we choose to not move on? And according to Lou, he's like, where I am, there's no such thing as time, is only space. And I want to be here because I'm running business here, referring to the owner of the tattoo studio. He's like, I'm running business with him, so I'm not going anywhere. And we're like, okay. That sucks that you want to work in your afterlife. That should be a big retirement. Like, I wouldn't want to work.
Right.
I would haunt a Las Vegas buffet. You know, I would want to haunt something like that.
That sounds awesome. Absolutely. Wow, that is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Coming from a kind of an empathic avenue, right? So my thing is that you said that, you are kind of like, you're discovering that you can pick up on certain things, right? When you go into these areas. Was there one area in particular, or maybe multiple, that you walked into and like right as soon as you stepped foot into, a haunted location, that you already picked up on some like crazy vibes?
Oh yeah, definitely. I just noticed, well, I guess it was like recently we went to this location called Ghoulish Delights, It's like it's a spooky store here, and there's a neighborhood called Granada Hills, and I don't think it's just the location, but it's also what people carry too.
Mm,
And I noticed that the more I'm doing these public investigations in these locations, like I pick up more and more. Like I'm a medium, but I'm not a medium. I don't like to call myself that. But there are so
mhm,
many things and people that were coming forward. And I was like, is someone's bloodline like dating back to Salem or the East Coast? And one woman's like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, I don't know. I see your ants. I don't know. I see your blood vessels. I see blood. I don't know. It's in your blood. I keep on saying, like, your family, it's in your blood. She's like, I have ancestors that were hung and stoned during the Salem witch trials. So I was like, that's what it is. I see people in that garb, in 14th century garb with you. I don't know why. And she's
mhm,
she's like, yeah, I'm a very like eclectic and empathic woman. I have a holistic shop, and I
mhm,
know that this is what I have, and my bloodline. I'm like, that's what I see. But there was this doll that this location had from a murder. It was a murder house, and it was formerly a doll that belonged to a sanatorium. But the victim of this crime was attached to this doll, and it was very interesting to see how this doll wanted to communicate with certain members of the group. I do a thing called the bell will tell.
mm.
I use a dead bell. I don't know if you ever seen that instrument, the dead bell.
I noticed, yeah, that was one of the things when I was looking at, the content that you post, and that's so interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So the dead bells are one of my favorite tools. If I were a witch, that would be my divination tool. It's just
Mm,
that I connect with spirits so well in my investigations with that bell. And
mhm,
what's so unique about the dead bell, it uses old school and new school technology. So it has a little service bell on the top, and underneath it's called a magnetometer, which is actually used in geography. Geographers use it to study, guess what, magnetism. What
okay.
is the earth made out of? Geomagnetism. So if you turn on the bell, I put it on the lowest frequency, it kind of creates this little bubble of electric magnetic energy that can attract other beings to, help manipulate to press the bell. So you tell the whatever's there to press the bell once for yes and twice for no. But this experiment that I do with the bell is very different. It's not just asking questions. I go around and I hold my hand above people's heads. I'm like, this is called the bell will tell, and I want the energy to tell me who you will like to tell you the questions.
Mm,
So I go and I put my hand over the people, and it was so unique because it made me put my hand over three people that were between the ages of 16 and 18. They all were wearing like Metallica or Guns N' Roses. Like they had an alternative look. And the owner of the doll said, yeah, one of the victims was like that. He was very alternative. So I was like, there was a gentleman wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt. And I was like, was Guns N' Roses your favorite band? And the bell went crazy. So I was like, does he remind you of your brother or your friend? And the bell went crazy. So it was very
wow.
unique. It was just so unique. I'm like, wow, this is like how all this is working and stuff. Like, I think
Mhm,
if anything, like when you use these devices, is don't just copy what you see on the show. Try to figure out ways to use them to your
mhm,
best advantage. Do those little, like, come up with little experiments. Like I came up with the whole experiment of, well, we're asking this device to tell us what we want to hear. Why don't we ask whatever's there to tell us what to do? And they love it. So
mm.
when I do the bell will tell, I get the most interaction with whatever's there because it's like, oh, I like this. So I get to tell you what to do. I'm like, yeah. Do you want to talk to this person? No. This one? Yes. Okay. Here we go. It's so unique. It's such an astonishing experiment.
Yeah, it's actually very unique. That's the first thing that I noticed when I was going through like your videos and stuff like that. Like that's the first time that I've ever seen that type of a method. That's actually very interesting. Have you noticed, have there been other people that have used that, or is that something that's kind of unique to your own,
That's
your own?
pretty unique to me. Yeah. I started practicing by doing these open investigations in my community here in San Fernando. I'm like, hey, whoever wants to go and investigate with me, let's do it. and I would have 40 people. I'm like, well, what do I do with 40 people? What do I do? A lot of them are just looky-loos. They're just an audience, you know? Why don't we get
Mhm.
them immersed into the investigation? How can I do that? Oh, I got this idea. Let's see if the device can tell me what to do. Let's see if we could do that. And it worked. So,
That's
So
so
this last
awesome.
so this last Friday, right before we did the investigation, Big, he got in the right mind space. He was doing cleansings, he was doing meditation. Me, I went and I got a haircut. But I'm curious to know, do you have a certain like ritual or something to get you in the right mind space before you do these investigations?
no, not really. I don't. I
Wow.
don't. I
Okay.
think people think I have one. I mean, I guess you could say I kind of do. I light some incense. I just get into a mindset where, nothing can touch me, nothing can harm me. I'm just very grounded. I think that's the thing. I just ground myself. And whether it's like walking my dog and absorbing the sunlight here, having a slow morning and appreciating the universe, and or just burning some Palo Santo. I think doing something good for yourself to make you feel good before going to an investigation helps out so much. It
Mhm.
actually raises your vibration to the point where, whatever's there is going to want to talk to you. They're like, whoa, you got a haircut? I like it. Tell me about it. They would really like that. They would love that. So I know people are like, oh, do you do spells or do you work with the cauldron? I'm like, I'm not that woo woo, but I feel like you do something very, like, you just took care of you honored yourself by doing that. I think that's so cool. For me, it's like, let me make myself breakfast because I'm always in a rush and I never have time for myself or
Mm.
whatever.
So
So
so during earlier in the week, getting to know you a little bit, you did share a post investigation ritual with us. How you love to go to McDonald's afterwards. I'm actually
Well,
curious.
it
I'm
was
actually
like
curious.
their
What is
original.
your order?
oh my
Or no,
God, I
In
get
and Out,
so
right?
hungry. I get so fucking hungry after an investigation. I guess because like you're so like your adrenaline's up and you're like, no, I just want to go here. But I go to an In and Out, I get a double with cheese, protein style, and fries. Maybe just that and the shake, and I'm happy. But yeah, after going on an investigation at the Ghoulish Delights, I just remember like feeling so hungry and I needed to honor my stomach and like just celebrate this investigation with a In and Out burger.
I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe there was some like spirits that were like, listen, we can't eat, so you need to eat for us. Like
Hmm.
we need to experience through you, experience this great food through you again, you know. But yeah,
Yes.
that's actually what we ended up doing. Like right afterwards, we left, and I was like, dude, I gotta grab something. Like I have to get some.
Right?
Went and we stopped at a McDonald's and got like a double cheeseburger and some fries and
Hell
whatever.
yeah.
And
Oh, yes.
it was awesome. It
Yeah.
was just so simple yet so satisfying.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So I want
bonus
to
if
kind of
it's bonus if the McFlurry machine is working. It's even like on
Right?
my side. Yeah.
Like it's broken. Yeah. Okay. All right, buddy. Yeah.
so I want to kind of get into a little portion of maybe where there's like some shenanigans that happen during some of these investigations. I know that you shared one a little prior to this episode. You said that you were recording something and a little kid ghost kind of cursed you out.
Yeah.
Has anything has
It
anything ever
was so
happened
disrespectful.
before? Has anything ever happened before where there was any type of shenanigans, like maybe you were shoved or there was other like profanity that was used towards you?
Nothing ever physical, but I
Curious.
remember when I went to what is it, the Myrtles plantation, something moved my eye lenses case. Like they hid my eye lenses case.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was in the bathroom and it ended up in a chair in a different location. I was like, what the fuck? Like I never do anything like that. Like I'm like, they stay in the bathroom. I pop them on for the day and I take them off at night. And when I went in that the next morning after we were, doing our little investigation outside Myrtles, in St. Francisville, I just remembered like trying to look for them. I'm like, that's odd. Like, where are they? And then I find them in a chair outside of the bathroom. I'm like, that never happens. Like that,
Mhm.
they're always in the bathroom by my toiletries. Like that was weird. And I found out that there's a little girl that tends to do that stuff on the second level in this particular room. So I was like, oh, of course, as a kid doing this shit. So yeah.
Wow.
Not only are kid ghosts creepy, they're also little pains in the butt.
They're little shits. Oh my god. People think they're evil demons. I'm like, yeah, they are.
Oh my
They're cursing
god.
you out. They're tripping you.
Mhm.
They're just draining your batteries. Like, yeah. When I caught that EVP, I was like, what a little shit. And the investigator that was with me, Tawny, who's also a medium, she's like, they're gonna fuck with you. She's like, watch. I promise you. And they were very, very vocal. So
Interesting.
yeah, I'll
Wow.
probably post it on my socials. But yeah.
That's
Right?
hilarious. I mean, well, I mean, I guess that there's a lot more negative things that could have happened. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's
Yeah.
the of it. You just got cursed out by some like kid ghost that was
I think,
disrespectful.
yeah. I think I probably
Yeah.
ran into them on the stairs because that's what Tawny was telling me is like they're there. Like they're just always hanging out there. I'm like, no wonder that space feels so weird. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm in someone's way. So maybe I didn't walk through them or tripped them on
Well, I guess it's
accident.
a good thing. I guess it's a good thing that you're not getting attacked and pushed and whatever, man. I've gotten pushed. That's not
That is
fun.
crazy. Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about, I don't know why, but I keep on seeing the word limpia with you, like you need a limpia. Like you
Uh,
need someone to give you like a limpiosa. Like
I need,
you need
yeah, I need to get
something.
a limpieza. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I do my little things here at home, that I have. Um, but yeah, I definitely need to get a limpia, definitely, because I'm definitely feeling it.
Mhm.
Uh, we could go deep into that conversation, but that would literally would just go like into a way different direction. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, it's
Since
about time. It's about time for me to
since
go.
we're kind of getting towards like the back end of the episode, actually do have another question that I'm actually super curious about. Is there a dream location that is on your list that you want to investigate so bad?
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, I definitely want to investigate too. Chateau Marmont here off of Sunset, and also Versailles in in France, where Marie Antoinette lived. Like that place would be really fun to do something in that whole. Yeah, I'm sure that place is filled with history and haunted
Mhm.
I
history
hate,
too.
like Big was saying, we're kind of like getting into the space and we're trying to check it out, but I kind of think it's a shame how a lot of these places are like turning them into like profit, like the Conjuring House and stuff like that, where like now you have to almost be, a millionaire to be able to investigate all these haunted locations that like they shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't. It's weird. It's people found the trick. I've never had to pay for anything, oddly. I've never had to
Mhm.
pay. I mean, except for when I went to do like Strange Escapes with Amy Bruni. That's I understand why, you have to pay that much, but um yeah, some of these places they know the cash cow.
Mhm.
I know there's a particular tour company and conglomerate, it seems, that is just beating the crap out of all these like little like vendors and
Mhm.
smaller ghost tours, which sucks. And
Yeah.
taking over all these locations and charging people up the ass. I refuse. I refuse to set foot in Conjuring. I kind of refuse to set foot in Warrens. I kind of because like the mystery is gone now. I feel
Yeah.
like it's been so exacerbated by people and by
It's
content
been
creators. Like
exploited.
it's been so exploited. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
when I remembered my friend, oh, Jessica Knappick, she said like she investigated the house before this chaos and it was so active. And now after the movie came out and everything, she went back and it was quiet. It was weird.
Mhm.
So it's very odd to see that happened.
Yeah.
I wonder
Have
if
you heard
like you
at
had
all? I'm
Hmm?
sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off there. But I
no go
wanted
for
to
it.
say because you're in California, we had a guest on who was the owner of the All Saints Lunatic Asylum, in Apple Valley, I believe,
Mhm.
California, and she has a haunted attraction that's actually haunted.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you might want to, check that out. You guys,
Definitely.
I don't know how far you are from that area, but yeah, I know she's invited us out
Oh, yeah.
to go. She's invited us to go out, to check that out. She was like, yeah, just hit me up if you guys are ever this way. I'll give you like a private tour and all that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
I'm definitely interested in, doing that in the future,
You
you
should.
know, but yeah, just a recommendation.
Yeah, definitely will. I think that's by Ukaipa, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours of traffic. It's not
Okay.
that bad.
Tammy, I don't know if there's any projects you're working on that's coming out in the near future, or just let all our listeners and watchers and everybody that's part of the community know where to find you, listen to you. Go for it.
Oh, absolutely. You can follow me at Hollywood Paranormal on Facebook and Instagram, and then you can follow my personal travels. I'm under Haunted LA Girl on TikTok. So I
Mm,
go all over the places, all over the states. I just can't got back from Houston and had a wonderful time in Texas and doing a lot of investigations there too.
mm.
Um, I also, and I guess I can announce it now, but I was doing an investigation at the Lopez Adobe here in San Fernando, and I just got approved by the city to lead a haunted history tour and investigation at the oldest Adobe, and I'll be the first investigator to do so. So they've never let anybody like me in, and I'll be the first to be investigating the
That's
Adobe.
amazing.
And that goes,
Congratulations.
thank you. It was a lot of work. But that will go up on August the 8th here in the city of San Fernando.
Mhm.
And I will be on the latest season of Ghost Adventures. I will be investigating with Zach and Billy Tully at the Waddles Mansion in Hollywood. So I will be in the next season as well. So,
Awesome.
mhm.
Fantastic. That is
Yep.
That
amazing.
is so. That is super, super, super cool. I'm so excited to check all that stuff out. Do you have any final questions, Big?
Not any like final questions or anything. I just want to take the time to just thank you so much. I know that you're like super busy all the time. So, I mean, we are so grateful that you were able to take some time out and have a conversation with us. It's been an absolute blast. Oh my God. Hopefully we can get you back, in the future.
Yeah, let me know when. And let me know when you guys are here in Los Angeles, and I'll definitely let you know when I'm in Chicago because I definitely want to return. I
Okay.
love I love that city, man. That definitely has
Mhm.
a place in my heart.
We know all the good food spots,
I
not the
bet you
touristy
do.
ones.
I
We know
bet
like
you
all the
do.
ones they're
I
like,
miss the Chicago style hot dogs. I really
Mhm.
do.
Yep. You don't
those
get big
good-
without knowing where all the good food spots are.
No, that place has some serious food and serious haunts. Yeah.
Mhm.
but this is gonna be an episode. My name is Michael, aka Mr. Scary Vibes.
My name is Big, aka Big Paranormal. Once again, thank you so much, Tammie. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, we will see you next time. Take care.